So, good morning. Today we'll be talking about Matthew Arnold's poem, The Scholar Gypsy. The Scholar Gypsy was written in 1853. The poem is based on a story which was found in the Vanity of Dogmatizing, written by Joseph Glanville. The Vanity was Dogmatizing was written in 1661. Well, এটা একজন এই কবিতাটা মূলত অক্সফোর্ডের একজন গরিব স্টুডেন্টকে নিয়ে. So the poem tells the story of a poor Oxford student. He leaves his studies due to poverty and he joins a group of gypsies. You know, gypsies are Romani people. The boy wants to withdraw not only from his studies but from the modern world as well. So when he joins the band of the gypsies, he is most welcome, and the gypsies, the Romani people, reveal to him some of their secrets of learning. So সে তাদের সিক্রেটটা জানতে পারে কিভাবে রোমানি পিপলরা শিখে. They have a special kind of a special kind of way of learning things. Later on, two of his former Oxford associates discover him and they recognize him. So he tells them that he will stay with the gypsies and he will learn their own unique way of learning, and he will stay there as long as he can, unless he learns as much as the gypsies can teach him. So he plans to stay with them as much as he can. He wants to stay with them to learn as much as he can. And then he says then he will share the wisdom of the gypsies with the world. Although he does not want to return to the world himself. সে প্রথমে জিপসিদের কাছ থেকে শিখবে, তাদের যে ইউনিক ওয়ে অফ লার্নিং সেটা শিখে, and then তারপরে সেটা he will share it with the world. But in fact he personally is not interested in returning to the world. Well, Arnold begins his poem by describing a rural setting just outside of Oxford. কবিতার বিগিনিং আমরা দেখতে পাই অক্সফোর্ডের বাইরের যে রুরাল সেটিংটা আছে সেটাই প্রথমে কবি describe করছেন. So there we see that the speaker who tells the story, presumably Matthew Arnold, the speaker watches as a shepherd and the reapers work in a field outside the Oxford University, and so the speaker remains there enjoying the view of the fields and Oxford in the distance, and he has his books lying beside him. Because he's an Oxford student, so definitely he will have books. So he has his book beside him. Well, though the story was written, the story of this Oxford student was written in 1661. 200 years before the poem was written. The poem was written in 1853. So there was a rumor that people could still see the scholar gypsy walking on the Berkshire moors. Let me read some lines from the poem to justify that the scholar gypsy, that the Oxford student is still found in the premises. Quote, "They said he left them and returned no more, but rumors hung about the countryside that the lost scholar long was seen to stray, seen by rare glimpses, pensive and tongue-tied. In hat of antique shape and cloak of grey, the same the gypsies wore." So the speaker even claims to have, unquote, unquote. So the speaker, even claims to have seen the shadowy figure himself. The speaker might have seen the shadowy figure of the Oxford scholar. So he questions, the speaker questions whether the scholar gypsy could really still be alive after 2 centuries. This is one question he makes. But he also does not believe that the scholar could have died. So there's a dilemma between whether or not a person can be alive after 200 years and a scholar cannot die. So the dualism of the dilemma is between these two perceptions of the speaker. As the legendary figure has turned his back on the everyday modern world and mortal life. So this the scholar gypsy has turned his back on the modern world, on we of the society, on the disillusionment of the society, and the dissatisfaction and the lifelessness of the then existing society. Okay, let me read some more lines to justify this quote. "Free from the sick fatigue, the languid doubt, which much to have tried and much been baffled brings," the speaker ends, and then unquote. We see then that the speaker ends the poem by appealing to the scholar gypsy to avoid mortals in case he should be infected by the disease of modernity. So we see in this poem that the speaker talks against the modernity of the society. Sit down. Aishwarya, how are you? That's good. So I haven't seen you for quite a long time. Okay, so আমরা আলোচনা করছিলাম ম্যাথিউ আর্নল্ডের দি স্কলার জিপসি কবিতাটা একটু করো। ওকে, so এটা হলো, this poem is one of the major poems of the Victorian age, the scholar gypsy by Matthew Arnold, and it anticipates the crisis of the modernist period. We can also say that the poem talks about Arnold's preoccupation as a poet and as a cultural critic. Let me give an example from the poem, how talks about his preoccupations as a poet and as a cultural critic. Quote, "This strange disease of modern life." Okay. Okay. Have you got the poem? This Scholar Gypsy. Okay. So now talking about some basics about the poem, background. Okay. So Arnold returns to this theme. So one of the themes of this poem is the ennui of modern society, disillusionment of life in modern society, the disease of modernity. And so he comes to this theme throughout his work, including in his poetic masterpieces Thersites and Dover Beach, and his major works of prose criticism. So this poem is written in a 10-line stanzaic pattern for a total of 250 lines. So 250 lines in total. It is also called a pastoral elegy. A pastoral elegy talks about shepherd and rustic life, right? So an elegy is about the death of a person. Our pastoral elegy is about rustic life, shepherd. So it's about the shepherd and the rustic life. So which is why it is called a pastoral elegy. Elegy to elegy mourns the death of someone. We also see in this poem the imprint of Arnold's classicism and the Scholar Gypsy. The subject of Arnold's elegy is legendary. It's about a poor Oxford student. The Scholar Gypsy is a poor Oxford University student. So he leaves his studies due to poverty. And when he leaves his studies, he joins a band of gypsies. Gypsies are, vagabond, and gypsies are the Romani people. And when he joins them, he finds a kind of, surprising thing. He discovers a surprising thing about the gypsies, the Romani people. So the Romani people have unique style, unique kind of learning. And he learns that kind of learning. And when he is with them, with the gypsies, so after some time, কয়েকদিন পরে তার ইউনিভার্সিটির আরও দুইজন ফর্মার স্টুডেন্টস তাকে দেখতে পায়, বিকজ হি ইজ লস্ট, বাট হি লেফট হিজ স্টাডিজ, তাকে তো পাওয়া যাচ্ছে না। দেন তার ইউনিভার্সিটির দুজন ফর্মার স্টুডেন্ট দে রেকগনাইজ হিম, অ্যান্ড দেন হি টেলস দেম যে সে এদের সাথে থাকবে, এদের একটা ইউনিক লার্নিং স্টাইল আছে, এটা সে শিখবে। মানে he will be staying here as long as he can learn all the secrets from the gypsies. তাদের সব সিক্রেটস শিখা পর্যন্ত সে এখানে থাকবে। then he will share these secrets to the world. তারপর সে সবাইকে তাদের ওই যে জিপসিসদের যে সিক্রেট আছে সেটা সবাইকে জানিয়ে দিবে। কিন্তু বাট হি পার্সোনালি আর এই ওয়ার্ল্ডে ফিরে আসতে চাচ্ছে না, দি ওয়ার্ল্ড অফ এভরিডে ওয়ার্ল্ড, মডার্ন ওয়ার্ল্ড। So he is, he has some, he is not in favor of the modern world. He is against the modern world because modern world is full of disillusionment. Modern world is full of lifelessness, hopelessness, dissatisfaction. যার জন্য he does not want to come back, want to return to the modern world that he has already left, because he withdrew his studies and he withdrew the modern world as well. And by withdrawing his studies and by withdrawing the modern world, হি জয়েন্ট দি জিপসিস, বুঝতে পারছো? তো সেই ওয়ার্ল্ডে এখন সে আছে, জিপসির ওয়ার্ল্ডে এখন আছে। আর জিপসির ওয়ার্ল্ডের মধ্যে সে খুঁজে পেল কি ইউনিক স্টাইল অফ লার্নিং। হি কেম টু নো অ্যাবাউট দেয়ার সিক্রেটস, তাদের সিক্রেটস সম্পর্কে সে জানলো। তারপরে সে তার ওই অক্সফোর্ডের ফ্রেন্ডদের সাথে যখন দেখা হলো, তারা তাকে এদের সাথে দেখলো, তখন সে বলছে সে এটা শিখবে, তাদের সিক্রেটটা শিখবে, তারপর সে সিক্রেটটা সবাইকে জানিয়ে দেবে, রাইট? So it's all about, this poem is all about this, right? Now আমরা ইয়ে করব, ওই line by line we'll be reading the poem.